Alright guys, so been thinking lots. Okay, driving down the 416 highway. There are road sign markers with numbers on them depicting exits off of the highway. And I find it awfully synchronistic that the distance in kilometers between exits represent numerically creation code. You know, exit 42, exit 34, exit 40. A marker at 40, I mean. When you get off on exit 34, the road that you're connecting onto is Highway 43. And the signs when you're getting off say 34 and 43. And you go through the doorway. What Armageddon means is understanding the numerical sequence and numerical pattern of Armageddon. Which, meaning, we know up to the third column of Fibonacci. We know ones. We understand self, guys, pretty well. We understand heaven, which is numerically hex, or 0 to 17. We can all count. A child can do that. When the child grows up, goes to school, it learns about the Fibonacci sequence in a linear line. The next two columns, columns 4 and 5, because 3 makes 4 makes 5 in Armageddon. 3 names, your first name, middle name, last name. 3 makes 4 makes 5, makes a triangle to make new heaven, which is all encircled. Okay? So, I find this interesting. The initials of my X, when you circle them and account for the 3 circles of the initials, and then circle all of the galaxies in a universe, you end up with 4 circles. When you take 4 and add it to the middle name, first letter, it equates ALM, which is Austin Lee Meredith. It's cool. I'm gonna start a new channel maybe with 0 swearing and sarcasm and anger of life, because I don't have that anger anymore. Okay? I think I went through the 7 symptoms of whatever, and I think I didn't do my research on this, but I think the final symptom is acceptance. And yesterday I blew off a lot of steam. I blew off a lot of steam, and I think I did it to 3 different people in about 3 hours. So I made my 33, which is all encircled, right? So it's cool. That's what I mean by creation code. I'm living Fibonacci. I mean, I can't look at a Tim Hortons box. I can't look at the logo of my building without seeing creation code. I do it effortlessly in seconds now. We drove past the building and I see the logo and I can decode it. Because it's not hard. If the letters are connected, they're connected via 0th dimensional singularity. If there's a line underneath it, it counts as a 1-dimensional line. You have to understand that that's a galaxy and a bunch of cells. The dot on the eye is not connected to the eye, therefore it is a new self, in a way, from a certain point of view. The people that make the logos make them for a reason. And think about this. They've been doing this on, like, everything. Everything is creation code. Look, guys. Look. What is that? The S and T are connected, and the R and the S are connected, meaning a 19 is connected to a 20. It's a 39 with a circle around it. That's what a saint is. When that's a 33 with 5 circles around it. Something like that. Anyways, and all encircled. Read it backwards, guy. If that's an RS, look, if the 0th dimensional singularity right here is counted as a 1-dimensional line, it says Sir. Sir, Ra, I don't know, Saint? Sir Ra Saint. Sir Ra Saint. Anyways, very interesting. That was done for a reason, guy. Just like the can of beer was done for a reason with the S and the T. You know, it made me realize what a saint was. So, I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones, and I mean, it is very awesomely synchronistic to what I'm doing. I applaud the Freemasons. I applaud the people in charge of creating Game of Thrones, because it couldn't be any clearer to me. You do realize that the story of Jesus Christ. I'm going to tell you a work of fiction created by one Kevin Janik. You can discern all you want. The Jesus Christ being the false prophet is just a play on words, okay? He knew his father, Austin Lee Meredith. He was a carpenter, meaning he can make stuff, guys. You know? He was good at that. Numbers and stuff. He knew his father. Anyways. So, the story of Jesus. Us. G's the seventh letter. G's us. Seven's us. Seven's us, guys. It's in your face. Anyways. Game of Thrones. Jon Snow goes by Jon Snow because that's his name, right? But in Season 6 of Game of Thrones, you find out that that baby that Ned Stark finds after he slays that sword guy, kind of. After he gets stabbed in the back. Stabbed in the back guy. He finds out that that baby is a Targaryen. Now, who is the other Targaryen that we know? She's the blonde-haired chick. Mother of dragons. And all of her life, whatever, Joran, you know? That guy? The guy with the grayscale? I don't remember what wrist it's on. Anyway, he had to move her from place to place because, whatever, Baratheon wanted all the Targaryens slaughtered. So his life was very difficult and they were on the run all the time. Ned Stark didn't want to do that. So Ned Stark took this baby in, lied about it, called it his own bastard son, took all that heat from his wife, took all that heat from his family, took all that heat from all of Winterfell and probably all of the North. But he's Job, and he took it, all the pain, and he kept the secret to protect Jon Snow, who's a Targaryen. Now Jon Snow was resurrected in Season 6. They all think he's some kind of god. They're calling him by his wrong name. Literally, they're calling Jon Snow by his wrong name. Jon Targaryen. And what's happening in Game of Thrones? The Mad King was a Targaryen. The Targaryens ruled the Seven Kingdoms for a long time because of their might and their dragons, which depict free energy, which depict energy plain and simple. Fire is energy in its infinite form in the visual light spectrum. So, what's happening is that two Targaryens are amassing armies. One is trying to overtake the Seven Kingdoms again, thus history repeating itself, which is... And Jon Snow is trying to protect everyone from the dead people. Because he sees dead people, but other people don't believe him in the South. I see dead people. Yeah, his sixth sense is kicking in. Spirit. Yeah, by the way, your crown chakra, because you and the earth are reversed, upside down, backwards, and flipped. This is your red chakra. And your bottom of spine is your purple, your violet chakra. They're flipped, guy. You and the earth are flipped, okay? Because, think about it. When light leaves heaven, it goes out on a crazy frequency, depicted by the ultraviolet light spectrum. And when it goes further away from heaven, it starts to slow down, and eventually becomes flatline. Our flat earth that we see, guy, which is the infrared light spectrum. Red, infrared. Now, going from the Earth or Armageddon's point of view, heaven is depicted by violet, the Earth is depicted by red. Now, as a receiver, think about it, your root system, your root chakra, your base chakra is your root chakra. Think of a tree. A tree's roots are very squiggly and infinite to absorb as much nutrients from the earth to grow strong. Think of that wavelength style. Your root system is your ultraviolet wavelength because it's like this, guy. And then eventually comes up and eventually leaves your red crown chakra at a non-linear waveform, transmitting back to center, to source, to heaven, to Austin Lee Meredith, via a non-linear one-dimensional line with an infinitesimal thickness. Like light traveling down a glass fiber, your light's traveling through the air, because light can bend in air. So, what I'm saying about Game of Thrones now is that Jon Snow and the Targaryen dragon lady, if they become victorious and whatever, everyone bows down to them, that means that history has literally repeated itself. But no one really knows. I doubt she's going to win because she's the obvious winner, so she probably won't win somehow with dragons. I don't know. And Jon Snow might be, the people look up to him as the people's man, like Jesus Christ, showing you depiction of people following that book of religion for thousands of years. Which is the false prophet, because they don't even know his real name. His name isn't Jon Snow, it's Jon Targaryen. Therefore, in reality, who you really want to root for in Game of Thrones is Cersei and the Kingslayer. Which somehow reminds me of myself and someone else that I know. Cannot be together, but a love so strong. It's a love story. I keep saying this. It's hilarious. It's breaking my heart. It's a love story, but it's hilarious. And there's lots of conflict. And conflict causes people to think, because conflict is necessary for every story in order for the story to be good. I don't know why. It just is. So you gotta roll with it. Now, acceptance of all of the signs and symbols, okay? I used to think it was all Illuminati shit and whatever. Yeah, okay. They're tired of doing this. They're tired of deceiving. And who knows, maybe even the news story is all fictitious. Whenever you see these celebrities, they're always acting. Just think of it that way. And I got one of the gematries the other day. Where do we even find a rubber pants our size? I didn't know what that meant. It just means they're wearing costumes. Who knows? Maybe the transgendered people are just wearing costumes. They're just deceiving you because it's being depicted on a screen, it's being flipped. Because when I film something, it's like literally flipped. So they flip the gender sometimes to tell the story better, if the story counts for it numerically, to tell the numerical story of creation well. So they're not doing anything bad, but they have to make us wake up to the Christ consciousness. They need us to become the Jon Snow. Austin Lee Meredith, I believe, is just a numerical sequence necessary in order to show the story of creation of cellular earth and energy. Cellular energy. It's not supposed to be hard. So I'm going to try to like break down stuff. I mean, I'm literally looking at any logo and it probably can be broken down to some derivation of those numerical sequences. You know, your DNA, your double helix, the tribe of Dan, that we are all a part of. So, yeah, I'm running out of time. Cheers.